Additionally, automakers are finding it difficult to make a turnaround. We're going to look at how GM could file for bankruptcy today and whether Ford has a shot to survive. Greetings to all, and thanks for returning to Everything Tesla stock. For the auto industry, this year has been an unusual trip. On the one hand, Tesla continues to generate practically inconceivable gross numbers, seemingly immune to any economic upheaval, while GM appears to be collapsing under the weight of diminishing sales and ever-increasing debt. Head of ARK Invest and ardent admirer of Tesla, Cathie Wood, forecasts that Ford and General Motors, two competing automakers, will go bankrupt. According to the financial expert, these companies would face tremendous challenges in managing their operations over the next 5 to 10 years. If Tesla is the first firm to successfully introduce autonomous vehicles to the U.S., I believe they may need to merge with another business or risk going bankrupt. According to Wood, we're beginning to believe that not only will Tesla take the largest share of the electric vehicle market, but we also believe that it could take 20 to 25% of the total auto market in the next 5 years. Daniel Ives, MD, senior research analyst at Wedbush Securities, was unimpressed with General Motors' justifications for its subpar second quarter earnings. Following the release of the automaker's lackluster Q2 earnings, its shares recently fell by more than 4%. He cautioned GM to adjust its supply chain or product strategy, tweeting, "It's time to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. If not, it might sabotage the EV plan for 2023 to 2024. GM claims that supply chain problems and a lack of semiconductors are still causing turmoil for automakers globally. The corporation's net income fell by 40%, which made analysts and investors lose hope. The business has acknowledged that it is already implementing measures to counteract the impact of inflation, including reducing spending on other areas and hiring fewer employees." Numerous other analysts have voiced same discontent with GM's operations. Given how many government loans the multinational automaker was carrying, some even anticipated that it would fail and go bankrupt. Some people have doubts about GM's potential to become an EV powerhouse since they compare it to EV expert Tesla and point out that Tesla performs better even in the face of a chip scarcity. Even GM CEO Mary Barra's repeated assertions that her business will outperform Tesla in the upcoming years have drawn criticism from certain responders. Wall Street's short-term forecasts for General Motors have been tempered by the persistent shortage of chips, inflation in commodities, and rising interest rates. Reduced short-term expectations are also reflected in the revaluation of GM shares. Here's where it gets interesting. According to GM, 2 million EVs, including its highly well-liked little electric car, will be produced in China and 1 million in North America by 2025. Some analysts, meanwhile, predict that GM won't be able to meet this goal since battery materials, particularly lithium, are becoming scarce. Given the current difficult market conditions, investors don't seem to be very patient with GM's gradual EV rise. In the first quarter of the year, GM sold just 457 EVs in the U.S., 99 of which were Hummers. The remaining 358 were Bolt cars and SUVs, which are currently back in production following a major battery recall that occurred in 2016. These battery issues won't persist if GM produces its fully electric vehicles in the nation, since the Bolt is built on an older platform than Ultium. GM's strategic choice to scrap the Bolt entirely and create a single, flexible platform to accommodate its whole portfolio, from sedans to pickup trucks, produced a noteworthy detail in the EV battle. In a previous interview, Tesla CEO Elon Musk made the bold prediction that Ford would fail during the next recession, following in the footsteps of GM and Chrysler, despite having a sizable dealer network and customer base. There have been numerous fruitless attempts to launch an automobile firm. In the previous recession, even companies with sizable customer bases, thousands of dealers and service centers filed for bankruptcy, according to Musk. Musk believes there's a strong risk Ford won't survive the next recession, despite the fact that Tesla and Ford barely survived the previous one. Even though Tesla has long been compared to well-known automakers, a lot of individuals thought the business will nev. What does this entail for investors in EV manufacturers like Tesla? To find out, keep watching. The first quarter of this year saw an 87% surge in Tesla's vehicle sales. Conversely, Ford's sales decreased by 5%, while GM's climbed by almost 11%. Ford and GM won't likely continue to lose sales and grow at this rate, respectively. For the past 10 years, the quarterly revenue of both firms has consistently hovered around $30 billion to $40 billion yearly, with a few significant outliers. Let's use $35 billion in vehicle sales as a benchmark for this comparison to see when Tesla will be able to pass these two industry heavyweights. Tesla's vehicle sales must rise at a rate of 27.5% annually over the next 3 years in order to attain that total. Thankfully, Musk expressed optimism in the company's ability to maintain car production at a 50% annual growth rate for the foreseeable future on the Q1 conference call. If that rate continues, Tesla will surpass GM and Ford by 2024. Since Tesla vehicles are often far more expensive than Ford and GM vehicles, it is easy to see how Tesla will outsell them in terms of sales. And if it succeeds, Tesla's next objective might be amazing: producing 20 million cars a year. Should Tesla succeed in selling 20 million vehicles and capturing a quarter of the global auto market, it will be considered one of the biggest business triumphs in recent memory. It is not an easy feat to become the world's top automaker. At the moment, 1.05 million vehicles can be produced at each of the factories where Tesla operates. Furthermore, it presently has 2 factories in the early ramp stage of development, which will double Tesla's current capacity for producing vehicles. By 2025, Tesla will easily surpass Ford and GM in terms of sales by doubling its output. As it approaches its yearly production capability of 2 million vehicles, Tesla is claiming a sharp rise in output. Following the recent announcement of its Q2 financial results for the year, Tesla updated its installed production capacity across all of its factories, confirming a strong overall rise. For Model 3 and Model Y output, its Fremont facility raised yearly production capacity by 50,000 EVs, or about 10%. Fremont recently produced its 2 millionth vehicle, according to an announcement from Tesla. The largest boost was at Gigafactory Shanghai, which went from producing 450,000 to 750,000 vehicles annually, making it the world's largest factory producing electric vehicles. In response, Tesla said in its Q2 earnings that we ended the quarter with a record monthly production level, despite the Shanghai factory being shut down fully and then partially for the majority of Q2. We can keep raising our output rate thanks to recent equipment modifications. Tesla currently states that it can produce more than 250,000 cars a year at its Texas facility, although it admits that commencing car production with older battery packs made this possible. According to the study, the Fremont factory produced a record-breaking quantity of cars in Q2. We believe Texas has room to grow its production rate even more. We now have the option to build cars with a heritage battery pack or a structural battery pack. The latest generation of 4680 battery cell equipment is now being commissioned after being placed in Texas. Texas's factory output is still rising. For Gigafactory Berlin, Tesla claimed to have a deployed manufacturing capacity of over 250,000 units, although it withheld several details about the project. The robust rise in production rate towards the end of Q2 allowed Germany to create over 1,000 Model Ys in a single week, employing 2170 cells, according to the report. The report went on to say that for the remainder of the year, production is anticipated to keep getting better. Do you anticipate that Tesla will do better in the upcoming years? Tell us in the comments below. Click on the next video that appears on your screen to find out what Tesla has been up to in the last few days. I'll see you over there. Music.